Okay, so here we go with the college application process. This is part number 9, I believe, if my presentation would work. I can just go backwards to part 9. There you go, got it to work. Part 9 is financial aid, and it kind of piggybacks on what was in part 8, where we talked about filling out the FAFSA for need-based financial aid. Right now I want to take a look at another portion which is called merit-based financial aid. But before I do that, I do want to mention a little bit about scholarships. Scholarships that students and parents see at academic award night or at graduation. I want everyone to rest assured that the vast majority of those scholarships, the applications, are all included in one application that Bangor High School manages. That application will be distributed to all seniors in March of their senior year. So between now and March, you don't have to even worry the slightest about any of those scholarships. We will get that application out to everybody and take care of it at that point. For other individual scholarships, it's helpful if you think about all of your organizations or corporations and companies that you are associated with. A good one, for example, is your bank or credit union. Most banks and credit unions do offer a scholarship for their clients or members. It's also important to think about your own, as parents, your employer. So if you're a teacher in the Bangor School Department, for example, then you may qualify your son or daughter to apply for the Bangor Education Association scholarship. Certainly if the student is applying for college to become a teacher. So there's a lot of things out there like that. There are lots of search engines. In the previous presentation in part 8, we talked about the Finance Authority of Maine. They do have a lot of scholarships on there that are based on different geographical regions or your major or all those different things to do with the state of Maine. The University of Maine Foundation has their scholarships on the FAME page, so you can use that website effectively. You can also use nationwide search engines, things like scholarships.com, fastweb.com, and those are helpful to do these broad scope searches for any scholarship that's out there that most of us probably know very little about. So those are search engines that will help you filter those things down and take a look at it. For those of you that are parents, when you were in high school and looking for scholarships, you probably had to go through some type of book or catalog. It just doesn't work that way anymore. Nowadays, you use one of these search engines to look for individual scholarships. Typically what we do, though, if you were to take a look at a timeline, we advise students to find the colleges that they're going to apply to first and take care of their college application first. Take care of scholarships second. While you will be filling out the FAFSA relatively soon, either right before or right after you put in your college applications, merit aid and scholarships tend to take a backdoor to the application process. So what you want to do is you want to kind of plan to have your colleges picked out and your application ready to go right around November 1. And then once you submit your applications, then turn your attention to scholarships. There are a handful of scholarships out there that you can apply to sooner, but they're relatively rare. So if you're doing a generic search, you can feel comfortable to wait until November. But the largest portion of merit-based financial aid that you're going to find is going to come directly from the college or university that you get accepted to. So what that means is if somebody asks me the question, what can I do to find more scholarships and more financial aid? The answer is relatively simple. Get good grades and take challenging classes in high school. That is where you're going to build your transcript, and that's where you're going to draw attention for merit-based financial aid. Okay? So what I want to do is talk a little bit about what merit-based financial aid actually is. Merit-based financial aid is aid that is determined by the student's high school performance. So the better you do in school, the better chance you're going to have at getting financial aid on a merit base. So we're going to start with grades. There is a lot of merit-based financial aid that is out there for average students, good to average students, right? So students that can get a 3.0 or better for a GPA. So you need to get good grades. I'm going to show you a few examples here in just a second, and you'll see that essentially merit-based financial aid starts with a B student. It is not something that is reserved just for the straight A student or just for the valedictorian, though those people are going to see a greater chance of earning merit-based financial aid. It's also important to get rigor on there. So it's not like you can take all easy classes and get really good grades to earn a lot of these scholarships. They're also looking at students that have good grades in challenging courses. So take the courses that'll push you a little bit, and even senior year, even though college admissions decision and financial aid will largely be decided before you get those grades. First semester senior year grades can also be something that will help you qualify for merit-based financial aid, depending, again, on the school that you go to. SAT scores do also play a role in determining merit-based financial aid. Again, I'm going to show you a couple of examples in just a few minutes. Now, I'm jumping the gun a little bit because one of our other short videos is going to be about some of the challenges facing us during COVID-19, and with the vast majority of schools waiving the SAT for admissions, there are still some schools out there that are going to use the SAT for merit-based financial aid decisions. That's a great question to ask universities when you apply. It's hard for us to keep track of the hundreds of options that students might have, and a lot of times we depend upon students sometimes to do that research for us. So good question to ask when you're calling admissions offices and whatnot is to say, what are the criteria for merit-based financial aid during COVID-19? The University of Maine is waiving the SAT score for financial aid this year, as well as in their admissions process. So they will not be considering the SAT as a requirement to receive financial aid. So rest assured that if the University of Maine is a university that's in your sights, that the SAT score is not something that you're going to need. However, some of the schools on your list may still have them. You might have to dig a little bit to find that information. So consult with your guidance counselor too if you need a little bit of help finding your way through that. Another way that students typically recognize merit-based financial aid are through special skills. Athletic scholarships are considered merit-based financial aid. You earn those scholarships based on your performance in a sport. There are also merit-based financial aid packages for students interested in music. The University of Maine, for example, has a music scholarship for $3,000 that is open to students who will be participating in pep band and other things like that. And you don't have to be a music major to get that award. You just have to have demonstrated skill and a desire to use those skills when you get to the university. So those are some of the ways that you can get merit-based financial aid. I'm going to go to a couple of websites now and share with you, oops, where did I go? Well, I'm going to go to Husson first. I seem to have logged out of the UMaine page. Go to Husson first. We'll come back to the University of Maine. So on Husson University's website, you can find part of their. You can actually go to their search tool over here, and you can just type in merit aid or scholarships, and it'll get you to this page. And it'll give you the criteria and the amounts of financial aid. And one of the things that's really nice about this is it's very objective. So, for example, their highest level merit-based financial aid package is for $20,000. That's $5,000 a year. It's awarded to students who have an A average that on their high school transcript, and that score a 1250 or better on the SAT. All right, so a 620, a 630 in each category, and you're going to get that that scholarship. It's also important to note that they tell you right here up front that you must maintain a 3.0, that is a B average, for your duration of time at Husson to have that scholarship automatically renewed from one year to the next. So you're guaranteed, based on your high school performance, to get $5,000 your freshman year. Maintain a 3.0 while you're at Husson, and you will get that $5,000 every year for 4 years. The scholarship level goes down, and so does the criteria. Instead of getting a 1250 SAT, you're still an A student, but you got an 1150 SAT, and you're going to get $16,000 or $4,000 per year. And you also, again, have to maintain a 3.0 to continue to receive those $4,000 installments. It goes down one more level to $12,000, so that's $3,000 a year. You have to maintain a 2.5 GPA. You have to have a minimum of a 1050 SAT. Again, so these are very specific targets. If you meet those targets, you're going to get that award, and you can kind of then predict that. You can look at your high school transcript right now to make sure that you are a B student. That is, that you have a 3.0 weighted GPA, and then take the SAT and get a 1050. To put this into perspective, you have to understand that a 1050 is just about in the 50th percentile of SAT test takers. So what that means is that a 1050 is a perfectly average score when compared to every other person that takes the SAT across the country. So Husson University is willing to shell out $12,000 in financial aid to students who have a 1050 or better, and can maintain a 2.5, which is basically a C plus or a B minus average while attending Husson. They also have a scholarship that is $2,000 a year for a total of $8,000 for B students, and the SAT score is only 950. So that is for somebody that has gone through 4 years of Bangor High School and taken level 1 classes for the most part, and has reached Algebra 2 and completed Algebra 2. A 950 is a very realistic target on the SAT. So what that basically means is, and I point that out to let you know that merit-based financial aid is there to be had. Give you an out-of-state example here. This is George Washington University, and they have a page to basically show you their academic awards for merit, and they list all of the different types that are on there. One thing that their website does not do, because the Presidential Academic Scholarship is one that is probably the most common, but you can call the admissions office to find out exactly what the credentials are for this particular scholarship and what the amount of that award is. Just like Husson, it is usually based on SAT scores and the rigor and performance of the student while they're in high school. So if they largely get A's in challenging classes, they're probably going to qualify for something under that circumstance. I'm going to take you back to the University of Maine page here, umaine.edu. Right in the search bar, you can type in merit aid, just as I have done here. I know my way through this website. I've been to it bazillion times. So you can go to the flagship scholarship program for first-year Maine residents. And they list the different types of criteria for the different levels of scholarships, just like the Husson page does. They have the National Merit Award. Any student that is a National Merit semifinalist will receive 100% of their tuition paid for 15 credits per semester. So that is a free ride as far as tuition is concerned. You would only be responsible for paying room and board if you lived on campus. The Presidential Award is an $8,000 a year, so that is a $32,000 scholarship. And again, you can see the requirements over here. That's a significantly higher level of scholarship than we saw on the Husson page, and the criteria is also a little bit more stringent. A 1450 on the SAT is extremely difficult. That puts a student about in the 95th percentile on that test. So again, all you have to have is a 3.0, a B average, but a much higher SAT score. I will tell you also that the University of Maine is relatively flexible when they recognize that a student maybe gets a 1400 on their SATs, but their GPA is a 4.7, and they're in the top 5 of the graduating class, and their schedule is loaded with rigorous classes. They've been pretty consistent about making exceptions for a student like that. And it goes on from there. As you can see, it's $6,000 a year, so that's a $24,000 scholarship. So if you think about it this way, it's a $24,000 scholarship, $6,000 a year, and essentially, if a student qualifies for the UMaine Katahdin scholarship, that is, they get a 1340 on their SAT and has a 3.0 GPA, you're getting your 4th year of college for free. So you're going to pay for 3 and get 1 for free. Buy 3, get the 4th one free is essentially what this is telling you. So when you can get a scholarship that pays for 25% of your entire college bill, that is what we're talking about with Merit Aid. So when students are thinking about practicing up on their SATs, this is a good example of why I think that's a great idea to brush up on the SATs. A 1340 for a student that has gone beyond Algebra 2 and has done well in all of their classes, reading and writing through their English classes, and has been a pretty diligent student. A 1340 is attainable, but it takes some work. The Dirigo Award, again, it's $4,000 a year, so this is the $16,000 scholarship. You can see that the demand is shrinking a little bit down to a $1,270. The $2,000 annually, or the $8,000 total, an $1,120. So we're in the same ballpark as what Husson is offering on those criteria. The Black Bear Scholarship for $1,000 annually is awarded to students who meet the criteria for one of the other ones listed above, and the Black Bear Award is for all Maine students that have the minimum criteria. And the Maine's Top Scholar Award, this is for a select group of students, usually about the first year that they did this, they limited it to the top 20 students, and then they expanded it to 50 or 60. So I think it depends upon the year and the number of funds that they have available. But it pays for 100% tuition. It automatic acceptance to the Honors College, as well as a faculty mentor and a grant to support a research project in their area of study. So these Maine Top Scholar Awards are, probably going to be given out to if I were just specifically to say students from Bangor, I would pick out a student that would probably be in the top 10, a student that has a pretty strong passion in a particular subject area, and shows exceptional promise. These are students that probably just missed the National Merit Scholarship qualifying score, but demonstrate exceptional abilities and talents in other areas other than just test taking. So this kind of wraps it up. I mean, this is what you should be looking for with merit-based financial aid, is the performance that you have throughout your high school career. That puts you into those categories. Certainly, if you have any questions, please reach out to your guidance counselor at Bangor High School. And for now, thank you for joining this little snippet about merit-based financial aid. Hope to see you again in the next video.